Hi, my name is Conway and I'm an endurance adventurer. My first big adventure was cycling around the world. I thought it'd be a good idea to attempt the world record for round the world cycling. Often when you push yourself out there a little bit, you're going to get some obstacles in your way, and for me that was a big truck in America ran me over, unfortunately. And I very nearly gave up. You know, my family were worried about me, but I thought, you know what, I'm never going to get the opportunity to cycle around the world again. And I still needed to raise money for charity, so I got back on the bike a month later with a lot of painkillers and carried on my cycling. I'm so glad I did. I think giving up would have been my biggest regret, I think, and I'm so glad I did, because I had one hell of an adventure for sure. I guess I'm mostly known for my most recent adventure, which was I became the first person to attempt and complete a length of Britain swim. I left Land's End in Cornwall, swam up the coast to Wales, swam across to Ireland, swam up the inside of Ireland, and eventually 4.5 months later rounded the Hebrides and got to John O'Groats. And I guess that's when I sort of realised that I could do this. You know, you've got to find what you're good at in life, and it turns out I'm quite good at being cold, miserable, wet, hungry, and good in my own little headspace. And giving up is never thought about. I try, and the words never enter my mind. It's not an option, and when it's not an option, you make a plan to come up with a solution for your problems or your hurdles. But I have to admit, getting in that water every single day was miserable. I'm not going to lie. So I've also cycled Land's End to John O'Groats, and obviously I've swum it now. So to complete the world's first ever length of Britain triathlon, I attempted to run it a few months ago, and I was really looking forward to this adventure. This was going to be self-supported, no sponsors, it was just going to be me. I was dressing up as Forrest Gump just to get into the whole ethos of long distance running, and everything was going to plan, and I was in Scotland and it was amazing. Fortunately, 200 miles into my run, I was taking a selfie video and tripped on a rock and injured my ankle to start off with. Cool off-road trip. But I was feeling confident, I was running on adrenaline, and I thought, oh, I can carry on, and I carried on. I pushed probably another 100 miles, but because my ankle was injured, my knee was overcompensating, and I eventually just pushed it too hard, and I had to give up, unfortunately. And then it was the first time I've given up due to sort of my own fault. My own fault for taking the selfie was my own fault for pushing too hard. Possibly didn't prepare enough. You know, if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Yeah, so I've recently got Mana, my Defender, 300 TDI. The reason I wanted a Defender, and particularly the 110 and particularly the hardtop, was I wanted a better pack. I can't believe I've lived 33 years on this planet and not had a car I can sleep in, because all of a sudden when you have a car you can sleep in, there's countless times where if you didn't have a car to sleep in, you'd be dead. You know, it's amazing how that happens, and that's why I wanted it. And obviously the history of Land Rover, you know, I feel amazing just waking up in the morning and sitting it and starting, and it rattles and you can't hear anyone, you can't hear the radio and everything. But you know what, that's what I love about it. It's got character and determination, and you know, adventure isn't always about climbing mountains or rowing oceans. Adventure in its purest form is a way of thinking, I think. It's just a way you deal with life, and instead of doing the same route to work, try a different route, walk to work, cycle to work, and that in itself is what adventure is all about. And Mana, named after Mana pools in Zimbabwe where I grew up, Mana, my Land Rover, is certainly that sense of adventure for me. And I know I can get in her tomorrow, and in the back is my bicycle. I can put a kayak on the roof. I've got my -20 sleeping bag and my little stove, and I can just go off and have an adventure straight from my doorstep without having to plan too much, and I know she'll get me there.